Yes.
Push that.
So, to begin with, our first speaker, Deepak Talwar, title, well, he's working on the pathways engaging humor. Just because you're in this club doesn't mean you have to do engaging humor. You can do any path you choose to. It's a 4 to 6 minute icebreaker to their club. Title, I'm Not a Goose.
Oof.
Deepak is starting the engaging humor path and sharing his humorous icebreaker.
Oof. Oh boy. You guys didn't hear a rip, did you? While I was doing my squats? All right. That's good. So I was almost 30 years old when I did my first squat. And, I had this identity growing up that, I was going to be this pudgy middle class Indian boy who would do well in school, who would get good grades, go to college, get his engineer's degree, and then go get a master's, and then finally become an engineer, which would then lead me to marry this beautiful girl of long black hair and have tons of children. Well, except none of that is true today. Um, I actually that's not true. I am an engineer and I'm married to someone who has long black hair, and I'm a father of an 8-year-old daughter. My point being that I had this identity growing up that I could not shake off for many, many years. It was, I tried so many things. I almost 4 times I invested so much money and time in personal trainers and supplements, and I tried to lose that weight. But I would not be able to put in consistent effort, and I would not lose the weight. A second identity that stuck with me growing up, and even a few years from today, was that I was definitely an introvert and definitely not a public speaker. So imagine when the pandemic hit, how excited I was. There was not going to be any awkward family brunches, any social gatherings, no more going to the office and pretend to like the people that you actually didn't really like. Imagine, avoiding all those awkward conversations in the hallway, avoiding, acknowledging to all the head nods that people would give you to somebody you had just said hi to. So I was in heaven. So when the pandemic came in, I was in heaven. I was eating my way out. I was living the life as an introvert. But then it's during the height of pandemic in the winter of 2020 when it became really isolated, right? The Boston was in a lockdown. Everything was closed. We could not meet our friends. We could not meet our family. There was this vacuum that set in. The silence was killing me. Everything that I had done till that point, all the anxieties, insecurities, panic, everything that was inside me had no place but to come out. And it came out in the worst way possible. Almost overnight, it became impossible for me to go through the day. Which brings me to the most important question of tonight. How are we as human beings different from animals? We as human beings are different because we have a choice. It's not just that we live in a civilized society. We speak certain languages, and we can actually hunt animals for food and pleasure. We have a choice. Animals, on the other hand, have no choice. A predator, a tiger, is always going to kill. A tiger is not going to be happy eating a veggie burger once in a while. Trees and plants and all the nature around you is always happy. They don't know any other thing. A goose will always fly south for winter. So what did I do to get out of my dark times? I realized I'm not a goose. So why did I start getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going to a local CrossFit and doing a punishing workout and do something really hard to begin with day to get willpower and confidence? So why did I do that? It's because I realized I'm not a goose. Why did I started to fast 15, 20, maybe 24 hours a day and eat only when I was really hungry and not when the clock told me it was time to eat? Because I realized I'm not a goose. Why did I cut out all the carbs, all dairy, all sugar from my diet and lost not 10, not 20, but 52 pounds in less than 10 weeks? Because I realized I'm not a goose. I was looking for answers. I started to attend talks, do meditation, talk to people. I went down the spiritual rabbit hole to find out what is life all about. And and these are the things that I actually wanted to do for so many years. And it was impossible for me to do to do that when everything else was going on pre-COVID. But all of a sudden, the impossible became the inevitable. So why would anybody care about this? Because I'm going to answer the question that how can all of us achieve everything that we have dreamed of? So how can we all achieve everything that we've dreamed of? It's really a simple two-step process. First, we realize we're not geese. Second, we realize we're not geese. And second, we stop living like one. And practically what that means is we pick an identity that resonates with us and we take small steps towards achieving it. For me, I didn't want to have the identity of the pudgy middle-class Indian boy, man, and I took concrete steps to not make that happen and make my vision come true. The second identity that I wanted was to be a good public speaker. And what I did was I confronted my fears. I joined not one, but two Toastmasters. And I came here consistently, and I practiced over and over again. And I'm doing everything possible every single week, every other week to make that identity come true. So are we all silly goose sitting here and listening to this? No. So let's take flight and soar. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Always a pleasure. That's what I love about icebreakers. No matter where you are, it's an opportunity to introduce yourself to a group. Many of us have been in Toastmasters a long time and gone through a lot of icebreakers. I think I've signed off maybe 10, 15 Competent Communicator manuals before we started in Pathways. With that, let's go ahead and get a little support and feedback on your presentation. First, let's get a timer's report and then pass it off to Marjane.
Well, the toast was a little bit burnt. It was getting there, 6:56, so 30 seconds over.
All right. Marjane.
For our facilitation today, I'm going to call on members. Let's see, we'll start with May Tran, followed by Vanessa Chewings, followed by Susan Schultz. You'll each have 30 seconds. Please give me something you liked and a what if.
Thank you, Marjane. Hi, Deepak. It was good. We get to know you a little bit more. And I would like to hear some goose sound. Just for that. I don't know how they sound like.
All right. All right. Thank you, May. Now we'll have Vanessa, followed by Susan Schultz, followed by Rajiv Wadhwa.
I really enjoyed the honesty of Deepak's talk. Really enjoyed and following through the journey. My what if suggestion could be perhaps to just not. There were quite a few use hand gestures, perhaps being a bit more aware of which ones might be useful, which ones are unnecessary. But I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Susan Schultz, followed by Rajiv, followed by Koki Kubo.
Deepak, I want to congratulate you on how well organized it was. I really appreciated the personal stories and how you had the analogy of the geese. I also like that repetition of I am not a goose, I'm not a goose, I'm not a goose. It helps solidify. I love the ending, take flight and soar. One opportunity for you would be to be a bit more mindful of your eye contact so you can connect with your audience better.
All right, thank you, Susan. Rajiv, followed by Koki, followed by Terry, and I think that'll do it for this round.
Wonderful speech, Deepak. There are so many good things about it. One suggestion I have for you is, I feel the Indian identity context, I think, was a little bit misplaced, because when you start to see how you are changing your identity, the description in the Indian one didn't match with the other identities. So my suggestion is, maybe don't bother about that, because you have other examples that you wanted to change. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Rajiv. Koki, followed by Terry.
Thank you for such wonderful speech, and really get to know you well. And you started out really interesting that you started out with a squat, and I thought you are truly nervous and trying to, relax yourself, but it was actually part of the speech. So that was a rather interesting way of starting the speech. I never seen anything like that. So, and like Terry said, that if you could even include some goose noise, would be rather interesting. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And Terry Wells.
Hi, Deepak. Congratulations on your icebreaker. That held my attention. That was very good. The only thing that I could think to suggest is deep breaths. And I know this sounds a little odd because you went over time, but slow down just a touch. We could tell you were nervous. We understand that. But maybe if you had rehearsed it a couple more times, it would have felt smoother to you. And that's important. Take care.
Thank you. And returning control back to Tom.